Have you ever felt like you've lost your damn mind? Like, no matter how smart you are, how strong you are, how much therapy you've done, you still get that one text and your whole body glitches. You see his name pop up, or even worse, you don't, and then your stomach drops. You check your phone obsessively, you think about what you should have said, you scroll socials, you spiral, you fantasize, and you rehearse the conversation in the shower like your life actually depends on it. Here's the wild part. You know he's not good for you. You know he's manipulative. You know you've blocked him before. You've deleted his number. You swore up and down to your girlfriends that you were done. And still, here you are, staring at the ceiling, obsessing over a man who never truly chose you. This is not love. This is a trauma bond. Welcome back to the Narcissist Worst Nightmare podcast, the podcast where we burn down every single lie that you believed about love, power, and what it actually means to rebuild your life after narcissistic abuse. I am Meaghan. Today, we are ripping the Band-Aid off of something way deeper than what is a toxic relationship. This is about why you stayed, why you kept hoping, why walking away felt like a certain death, and why you still don't feel free, even though he's technically out of your life. So if that's you, you are not broken. You are not weak. You are bonded. And by the end of this episode, you are going to understand exactly why. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what this actually is before we start giving it fancy names, because a trauma bond is a term that gets thrown around a lot online, and most people couldn't define it if they tried. And if you're in it, you damn well sure feel crazy trying to describe it to somebody else. A trauma bond is a psychological and physiological addiction to a person who continuously harms you. It's created through a repetitive cycle of abuse with intermittent reinforcement. That is the very clinical answer, not a therapist, just a girl that knows some shit. But I want to give it to you on the real level. This is when your brain starts confusing chaos with connection. It's when you start calling manipulation love. It's when you feel more anxious that they don't text you than when they do, even when you know that their text is going to ruin your day. It is the hook that keeps you crawling back, and it's not even necessarily because you want them, but because you're chasing that high of who they pretended to be. You've gotten stuck in a loop where pain was followed by a rush of comfort. The same way that gamblers chase their next win, your nervous system chases that "I'm sorry," the next good morning text, or the small breadcrumb of kindness. And when you don't get it, you absolutely spiral. You feel desperate, itchy, lost even. And your brain, your heart says, "I miss them." But what you really miss is the relief, that tiny fleeting moment of maybe it'll get better. Here's the truth bomb. You weren't addicted to him. You were addicted to hope. Hope that this time it would be different. Hope that the apology meant something. Hope that the person who hurt you might finally love you the way that you've been begging for. Trauma bonds make you forget what love actually feels like. Because you're so busy chasing the potential, you forget to measure the pattern. And the bond, it does not break with distance. It breaks with truth, with safety, with self-honesty and reflection, and guts that can tear you wide open and make you face the fact that you were never actually loved, you were used. And when that truth lands, that is when the real work begins. A trauma bond is not weakness. It is not proof that you are broken. It's proof that you are emotionally invested, spiritually entangled, and physically conditioned to survive something that never loved you the way that you needed. I want to break all three of those down. Nobody talks about this online, you guys. I went live on TikTok a little while ago to talk about this. It went absolutely viral. So, emotionally invested, meaning you cared. Your love, your heart, your feelings are true. You were not playing games. You wanted this to work. You showed up with your whole heart, and even when it started to hurt, you thought that meant that you had to love harder. And that kind of woman, the kind that gives and gives and gives, she doesn't give up easily, and that is not weakness. That is your loyalty, and that was used against you. Spiritually entangled, meaning the connection didn't feel casual. You felt called to him, like fate, like a past life, almost like black magic, magnetic, electric. But just because it felt divine does not mean it was healthy, okay? Spiritual entanglement is when your soul gets wrapped in fantasy. You see what it could be. You believe the version of him that only shows up once every 3 weeks. But you start seeing signs and symbols and convincing yourself this is meant to be. No. This is your intuition being absolutely fucking hijacked. Physical conditioning. Your nervous system is actually wired to associate him with survival. So when things are calm, when you feel peace and you feel serenity, you actually panic. You text, you reach out, you check things. It's self-sabotage because your nervous system is trying to recreate the storm it was trained to survive. That's why just leave doesn't work, because your body still thinks he's home. You knew he wasn't good for you. You knew that you were anxious all the time. You're walking on eggshells. You were losing sleep. You had no more confidence left. And you were losing yourself just enough to keep the peace. But you couldn't leave because you didn't know how. You blocked him, then panicked, then unblocked him just to see if he would notice. And every time you didn't, you broke again. You didn't want him back. You wanted the noise in your body to stop. And that's what people don't understand. That's why they say things like, why didn't you just leave? Because it felt like death. Not even because you wanted him, because your body thought he was safety. And all this is, guys, is survival. And survival has one goal: keep you connected to whatever feels familiar, even if that hurts you. If love used to feel like chaos, if you had to work really hard to be wanted in your relationship, if you grew up earning love, begging for closeness, or feeling like you were too much, when somebody triggers that same pain, it'll feel magnetic and your body calls it home. That is why smart, strong, high-achieving women get caught in trauma bonds. Because we know how to fight, we know how to fix, and we know how to survive. But survival is not the same as peace. And being able to endure pain is not a flex when it's keeping you from feeling actual love. I want to talk to you about healing. What does it look like to heal this? People think that healing a trauma bond means just stop talking to him. Healing is not linear, it is not cute, and it sure as hell isn't journaling and blocking his phone number. Healing a trauma bond is one of the most spiritually violent things you will ever do, because it forces you to deprogram every single belief you built while you were surviving. If it looks like learning to sit with your own thoughts in silence when they feel too loud, it looks like screaming into a pillow because you still miss someone you know broke you to pieces. It looks like hating yourself for wanting them and then forgiving yourself for it. It's choosing to break your own heart with the truth. Think about that for a second. You're breaking your own heart with your own truth because you finally understand that the illusion of this person is the real poison. It's relearning how to trust your body, your intuition, your voice. You're probably learning how to sleep again, how to eat again. Narcissistic abuse teaches you to doubt all of that. It teaches you that you're too sensitive and you're too needy and you're too much and you're too dramatic. So healing is becoming too much on purpose. It's getting loud. It's getting so direct. It's getting super clear on your standards and what you will never allow to have happen again. But here's the part that nobody tells you. Sometimes healing feels worse and hurts more than staying. Because at least when you were in it, you had the fantasy. And now you are left with this wreckage, the truth, the shame, the guilt, the loneliness that creeps in at 2:00 in the morning and your brain just goes nuts again. Healing is when you stop romanticizing the cycle, when you stop rewriting history to make it hurt a little bit less, when you finally say the words out loud, "No, that was abuse," and mean it. Even if it's subtle, even if it's just on your brain. It's not one big breakup. It's a tiny 1,000 little micro choices that no one applauds. Waking up and choosing not to text. Staring down your own triggers and not running from them. Choosing not to hide anymore. Holding yourself through the urge to go back. This is how you start to create self-safety in your own body. So you no longer seek it in the arms of someone that caused danger. Healing does not look like revenge. It looks like choosing the ultimate level of peace, the kind of peace that's boring to your trauma, but safe to your soul. And once you taste that bit of peace, you really taste it, you will never chase chaos again. You don't need to shame the version of you that stayed. You need to honor her. You need to understand her. And you need to rescue her, not ridicule her. Because leaving is not just as simple as walking away. It's grieving the dream. It's letting go of the apology that's never coming. The closure that has already happened with their behavior. They've already showed you who they are. Choose to acknowledge that. It's saying, I don't need to be chosen to be worthy. And that is where your power lies. If this is landing with you and you're in that space, if you know that you need to walk away and you are stuck somewhere between heartbreak and survival, this is my invite to you to something deeper. I am giving you a free week inside of my membership, Reinvent, Rebuild, Redeem. It literally stands for reinvent who you are, rebuild a life that you love, and redeem your version of freedom. Inside, I will walk you through the Hooked on the Hurt program. It is a trauma bond healing pathway. And what you get is a 30-minute training alongside a workbook with weekly intentions to help you regulate and reset with somatic exercises, access to our private Telegram where I give you direct coaching and feedback. And you are in a room, a community of women who have decided to leave, are trying to leave, or have already left, and they are actively healing from the relationship. You also get access to all of our past focuses. So you don't actually need to figure this out on your own. You do not have to carry guilt for what your body did to keep you alive. On our next episode, we are diving deeper into this, very specifically how trauma is stored in our body, our physical state, and how we can resolve that by creating self-safety. And guys, I looked at some photos the other day. I cannot wait to share this with you. It absolutely blew my mind. I have photos of me before, during, and after each of my narcissistic relationships. Some of them don't even look like me. If you put the one from like 2019 to me today, you'd be like, that's not the same person. But for now, I want you to hold the woman that you were, honor the woman that you're becoming, and I want you to know this. You are not crazy. You are starting to gather awareness, and you're coming back home to yourself.